You and I all have the ability to shape the world that we desire, but it's not going to occur by us praying for it, speaking about it. We're going to have to take action to make it become real. That's first and foremost of what we teach here on the Matthews broadcast. Secondly, we always remind us as a whole community to make sure that we treat each other and make each other feel like the world changers that we are. As our sister, our poet laureate, Maya Angelou, taught us a long time ago, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will rarely ever forget how you made them feel. So we remind all of us in our community of love, that we should treat each other with absolute unconditional love at all times. That doesn't mean that we have to be unwise rather, or weak, or be a mat for other people to walk all over. It means that we have to be intelligent in how we love, intelligent in how we give, but we should still maintain that as our focus and a discipline. We also remind us that we need to get wealth. We must invest in our communities. Urban communities, like other communities, must have investment of capital for us to have the type of schools we want, for us to have the kind of homes that we want, for us to have the kind of public services, police, fire, and otherwise that we want. And so we must invest in our own communities and stop expecting others to do things that we can do for ourselves. This morning I got out of my bed all by myself. I brushed my teeth all by myself. I think I read my newspaper all by myself. And so there's some stuff that we can do all by ourselves, and I would include to that list making sure that our communities look the way that we want them to look, that our public servants respect us the way that we deserve to be respected. The plug. And it's right there.
Just pull it out?
No, just the string. I need to. All right, thank you. so that we can have the kinds of things the kind of community that we deserve to have. In getting wealth, though, we need to make sure that we know that wealth, financial wealth, is just part of what we need in our communities. We also have to have the fruit of the Spirit. Second Corinthians teaches us that in the end, all that remain are love, faith, and hope. And among these, love, we are told, is the most important. So there's some things that money can't buy that we must have, and that's the kind of wealth that must be the counterpart to the financial wealth that we certainly need to have, the kind of communities that we need to have. Finally, we must have people in our communities who are willing to be leaders. And the first thing that leaders have to do is they have to remember that everything begins with you. Our late great brother Michael Jackson said that I'm looking at the man in the mirror and asking him to change his ways. So everything begins with that person that's looking back at you in the mirror, and that person has the potential to do everything and to change everything just by swinging into action. And so I'm looking at 2017 as a year that we live our dreams collectively. I'm looking at this as a year that we become more powerful, a more powerful economic force, a more powerful social force, a more powerful political force. And I think that the person who is now the President of the United States is going to be a motivator of sorts. I believe that the fact that that individual is now president has fired a lot of people up, as was demonstrated by the Women's March International, which had millions of people all over the world. And so I am happy that President Trump is now in office, because he may remind us about some things that we might have taken for granted when President Obama was there, that we know we certainly can't take for granted. And so we might have told God what we wanted with our mouth, but God knew best what we needed. needed. He knew that we needed to continue to be strong, continue to push, and to continue to be diligent. And so I am happy that there's someone in the White House, no pun intended, that's going to make us do things that we need to do for ourselves. The scripture says iron sharpeneth iron, and so I'm not expecting anything from the current occupant of the White House except a challenge, and I don't run from challenge. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to be right in his face whenever there's policies that are harmful to our community. We are not backing off, because the upward rise of the black man and woman in this country has been what has brought this country partially to its greatness. There has not been a battle that America's ever had that we have not been in. And so everything that we have gotten in this country, we've earned, and we are not going back. So I would finally say to the new president, I was looking at his cabinet, and so I would just say in jest, Brother Trump, you cannot talk about ending prostitution if your cabinet is filled with pimps. So just take that as a note, that the folks gathered around you certainly don't look like average America to me. So before you start lecturing us about being for the average man, why don't you try putting a few average men and women in that cabinet so that it could reflect the real face of America. So with that said, we're going to get right into our first segment with our first wonderful guest. This is Miss Sister Mary Nieves. She is the proud owner of Flavor Catering, and I mean the word flavor. I want to emphasize, because everything that I've tasted that this guest has provided for our business receptions has been outstanding. And so we want to welcome you, Mary, here tonight. Thank you for coming out in the rain and being here with us.
Thank you, Stan and Lisa, for having me.
We are so glad that you are here. Tell us a little bit about Flavor Catering.
Okay, so Flavor Catering is a soul food cuisine with a contemporary twist. So what does that really mean, you ask? What it means is that you have your most popular soul foods, such as fried chicken, macaroni, cheese, and collard greens. We certainly make those staple dishes, but we also do a lot of traditional dishes that may have been forgotten, such as butter beans, stewed tomatoes, smothered chicken, and things, turkey wings, and things of that nature. And of course, you can't forget our desserts, which are all homemade.
That's right.
Which is pound cake, red velvet cake, peach cobbler, chocolate marble, walnut raisin. I mean, I can go on and on. Oh, by the way, I can't forget our most popular one, which is banana pudding.
Go ahead.
So let me talk about the contemporary twist part of our tagline, which is, with a lot of new diets today, people are more health conscious.
That's right.
They have some allergies, and they just have a different palate. As evolution takes us, people want to be healthier, they want to be smarter about what they eat. So, I mean, myself, I don't eat red meat, so a lot of dishes that I make are made with alternative options, such as turkey. Example, turkey chili, turkey ziti, and a mean turkey burger.
Well, I haven't had the burger, but I've had the chili and the ziti. So we got to deal with the burger.
So more to come.
We got to deal with the burger next. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then when you want to talk about a lot of vegetarians today, some of the dishes we make are vegetarian. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is for our vegan compadres, we make dishes that are vegan based. And I really want to stress the homemade part, because people really want to move away from processed foods, me included. So most of what we prepare is, as I said, homemade, but also with very little processed items.
Well, that sounds absolutely delicious. Out of everything you've just said, what is the most unique aspect of your business?
The most unique aspect of our business, this is going to sound odd, but
the most unique value
is that it's homemade. Because people are so busy. They're doing so many things. What people call cooking today is putting something in a microwave, or opening something out the freezer, or going to picking up dinner at a fast food restaurant. It sounds really odd to say that, but the most unique part about what we make, about what we do, is that it's homemade. Genuinely homemade.
That sounds delicious.
That sounds. I'm feeling it right here. Well, I tasted it, so I know that absolutely is the case, because everything that you do, you can tell goes a whole lot of love and care in it, and a whole lot of pride in it.
Yes.
I don't know who taught you what you do, but it
I'd like to
sounds
tell
like
you.
it sounds like there's somebody in your family.
Yes, yes. While born and raised in Newark and East Orange area, that's Jersey, of course, but our roots are based out of Virginia. So like most urban kids, during the summer you went down south. Nobody really knew what down south was. We just knew it was in the south.
That's
but
right.
for us, it was Virginia. So I come from a very large family and very traditional, and what we did was cook. So my grandmother, she made everything from scratch naturally, whether she made it for the family or for the church, because my grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister. So we were always cooking for revivals or anniversaries or just in general for family gatherings. So, you know, all the girls are in the kitchen helping grandma and the aunts, while the fellas are in the living room watching sports or working in the garden or doing what men do, going fishing. So in that respect, it was very traditional, so you couldn't help but learn. And everything was done with a certain process, with certain ingredients, and of course a lot of love. So that's the
sounds-
roots of Flavor Catering.
I could almost see a movie kind of scene in there. He was talking about what everybody was doing.
So what would be a fantastic referral for you?
The kind of client we would like is someone, of course, who's interested in flavorful food. And someone who takes pride in whatever they prepare for their guests. And it doesn't matter the size. It could be a book club meeting, a church event, birthday party, or just a family gathering. We really don't care. But someone who's interested in having good, wholesome, traditional, flavorful food would be our perfect referral.
That sounds great.
It certainly does.
So how
Yeah.
can everybody contact you?
Well, a couple of ways. Our phone number naturally is 973-985-2577. So that's 973-985-2577. And then our email is flavorcatering@gmail.com. And that's flavor with 2 V's. And then last but not least is our website, which is flavorcatering.com. And again, that's flavor with 2 V's.
Repeat that one more time, Mary, just so that everybody.
Sure. So our number is 973-985-2577, and you can call or text.
All right.
It's important. And then our email is flavorcatering@gmail.com, and that's flavor with 2 V's. And then our website, you can also contact us on our website, which is flavorcatering.com, and that's with 2 V's as well. And that will give you an opportunity to peruse our different menu options, along with some of the events that some of our customers are really excited about. And I should have mentioned as well, like we do sporting events as well, graduations, and with Super Bowl just around the corner, we do chili. Our turkey chili is a big hit, and our wings are a big hit at Super Bowl parties.
That is awesome. That is awesome. This is Mary Nieves of Flavor Catering. I saw a hint of, there was something else that some people were raving about, the banana.
Oh, the banana pudding.
Because
Best
you
banana
said you
pudding I've ever had in my
wanted
life.
you wanted to go contemporary twist, but you never got to the banana pudding.
Yeah, how could I forget the banana pudding?
Banana pudding is amazing.
Thank you, Lisa. That is our signature dish.
That's right.
One of our signature dishes is the
Unbelievable.
banana pudding. We have, that's always a very popular item and a
Awesome.
repeat item.
I know it had to be
And a
repeat
repeat item.
That's right.
Yeah, and I would say second to that, close second, is our pound cake and our red velvet cake. And I forgot, there's so many contemporary, but yeah, traditional is our sweet potato pie. That's also a big hit.
Now, you mentioned that your family members are involved in Flavor
Yeah.
Catering. You mentioned a sister that's involved in
Yes, my sister, she and I are co-owners, and then my daughter, she's an adult, but she helps us as well with marketing and also with our events.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome. Well, we've got the whole Nieves Washington Nieves family involved in the business.
Yes.
You got to taste everything that Mary has had. Do yourself and your organization a favor and call Flavor. Do yourself a favor and call Flavor Catering. This is our friend Mary Nieves. She is here, and she is ready to go when you need her. You gotten the contact information. You got a chance to hear from her, and we will be right back with our final segment. We're going to welcome back. We are back from the break, and we're joined in studio, as we usually are on Monday evening, by our friend Super Jerry Moultrie, the chairman of the Urban Business Association. He is always here to talk about how urban businesses can continue to work together, support one in what Maulana Karenga called Ujamaa, or cooperative economics. And so it is the purpose of Urban Business Association to make sure that business is circulating in urban communities and that urban businesses are partnering with each other in a manner that would enrich those communities. So we welcome Jerry again, and we still have our wonderful CEO of Flavor Catering, Mary Nieves, with us. And so we're going to let Jerry tell us all the great things that UBA has coming up. But Mary was finishing up her thought on the role that her family plays in Flavor Catering. And I don't know if you had some commentary on the Women's March. You can certainly share some reflections what that march means to you, if you'd like.
I would love that, actually. So,
All right.
So to finish up with the family
Preach.
part about the cooking is that we all do it, and it's part of how we bond. Ever since my kids were small, the kitchen was always the gathering place, and that hasn't changed now that they're adults. So that's always the center of our home. And when you're in the kitchen, what comes next is eating. And before you eat, you have to cook it.
Yeah.
And that's cooked with good things that taste good and that are fresh and delicious. And I forgot one medium that you can reach us. I apologize, which is on Facebook. Social media is the biggest thing out there. So we also have a Facebook page, which is under Flavor Catering. So to the Women's March, which was short of having my 3 children, it was the most amazing event I had ever been to.
Right.
Yeah, and I've protested for other things, which was just as inspiring. But there were women and men and children from every walk of life, and you felt like you were making history.
Wow.
And that you were part of something wonderful. And everybody was just amazing. And it was over 1 million people. I mean, the fire department actually said it was 1.8 people there now. That's not scientific data, naturally.
Right.
But I think the firemen have a good gauge.
Yep.
It was for sure over 1 million. That much we know for
saying
sure.
the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It really was. It was amazing. So I would encourage every person to be engaged. And the march is not the last stop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are so many more things that are coming out of how we all can make sure that we leave this world in a better place in spite of who's in the White House.
Yep.
Jerry, you want to join? You want to co-sign on to that?
I absolutely do. And really, that's what we're fighting to accomplish in UBA, is because, as Mary said, I think there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more that can be done. And as I've heard you say many times, Stan, it doesn't matter who's in the White House, because if we build our own community up and build our own resources in our community, we don't have to worry about what they're doing in the White House.
Nope.
And, you know, I always talk about Black Wall Street when, you know, they had all 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, 6 private airplanes, a hospital, a bank, its own school systems. So, you know, when you talk about economic power, that's economic power.
That's
they had everything they
economic
needed.
power,
You know, they didn't need anybody else. And they really tried to destroy it. They bombed it twice. They rebuilt it. The way they destroyed it was they created desegregation and basically said, okay, you don't have to buy from your own people anymore. You can buy from us. You still got to sit at the back of the bus. You still can't drink out of our water fountains. You can't sit at the counter to eat, but you can spend your money with us. And we thought that was progress, but that's not progress. Progress is us doing business with each other and keeping our money circulating in our communities. You know, we do $1.2 trillion worth of business, and it doesn't stay much more than an hour in our community, which is pretty
Amen.
sad.
There you
So that's what UBA is about, is trying to improve that, to make that much better, to get that money circulating more in our communities. And thanks to yourself staying with the radio show and others, we're making some great progress as doing that. Mary is a product of that, quite frankly, and I'm so proud of Mary. I've known Mary for a number of years, and I know the kind of person she is. She does an excellent job with the food. I've been eating her food for years, to be honest.
Thank you, Jerry.
She just finally decided to do something with that talent.
That's a good thing.
But she's a very strong member in our organization, and we're proud to have her.
Thank you.
Well, you know, the scriptures say that your gift shall make room for you.
Yes.
And, you know, not only are your gifts making room for you, they're making room in my tummy. You know, we're going to have to control that one. That's
Yeah.
a joyous making room. The reality that both you and Mary are pointing to, Jerry, is that when you have independent wealth in America, public policy is a detail to you.
Yes.
When you don't have economic wealth in America, public policy is all you have. So you've got to always be crying about what, you know, someone
Yes.
somewhere didn't do for you. But when you've got economic independence, notice that independently wealthy communities, the Korean community, the Hindu community, with their merchant stores, with their 7-Eleven franchises, with their newspaper stands, notice that we haven't heard a peep from any of them about being afraid or concerned about the new occupant of the White House.
That's
because the communities, Chinatown, Hindu town, Koreatown, to them, business as usual
That's
today. And to the extent that each one of them not only make money in their own community, but also find a way to sell into urban communities and take more wheelbarrows full of money,
That's right.
is, you know, it's of no consequence to them, or very little consequence to them, what public policy is about. So we understand what we need to do. I agree with Jerry about the bag of worms that desegregation was. Desegregation was a double-edged sword. You know, as one of my mentors, John Henrik Clark, said, we were told we were getting a bag of candy and we stuck our hand and it was a bag of worms. So, you know, the reality is that there's some good aspects of desegregation. We should be entitled as a public matter to go where we want, sleep where we want, and have public accommodations just like everyone else. But on the other hand, we should still retain those things that are necessary to having an independently wealthy communities of our own. Just want to ask you a question, Mary, and you also, Lisa, as you two are the ladies in the studio with Jerry and I. Do you think we will see a female president in your lifetime?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's on the horizon, and it's not far away. It could be the very next election.
I agree with Lisa. Even though things didn't work out for Hillary, she did some amazing historical things. And I would argue that all the people, men and women, that was at the Women's March is a very clear example of that. And women power is human power. And we're going to see some pretty fantastic things, I agree with you, Lisa, in the next 4 years, if not sooner, about what we can do if we work together. And I believe that we will.
There is a new senator that I want everybody to watch coming from California. Her name is Kamala Harris, with a K, Kamala Harris. She is the Attorney General of the state of California, and you are going to be hearing a lot about this lady. Her mother is a Hindu from Jamaica, and her father is an African American. You're going to hear from Kamala Harris. She's now in the United States Senate, and she has similarly talented as President Obama. I won't go any further, but you will be hearing that name, and I agree with both of you. I think that we are in the not too distant future going to see a female occupant of the White House. And you know, my opinion, I hope, is a sister. So I'm plugging Sister Kamala. Run, Kamala, run. And
Run, Michelle, run.
Yeah.
I think Michelle certainly could win, but I just don't think she wants. I think family is a bigger priority to her than that. I don't think she would put herself through that, but maybe she will. Jerry, any events or items that you'd like to share?
We sure do. We have a networking after dark event coming up on February 10th, and we're asking everybody to come out and network with us. It's really a great exchange of referrals with the businesses that come out every month with us. So we're looking forward to a nice crowd and some real good activity there. And then on February 24th, we're going to have a training seminar that's going to focus on how to network, because we go to so many events that are networking events, and people don't know how to network. They think that they can shove a card in somebody's hand, and from that they're going to get business, and that's just not how it works.
Not going to happen.
You gotta build a relationship with people, and your really only goal is to get to know someone and not to sell your product at a networking event. And if you build trust, and if a person knows, likes, and trusts you, they'll buy from you. But we're going to take the time to teach people how to do that. We're also going to teach them how to do their elevator pitch so that it's short and to the point, because as we know, most people's attention span is about 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So we're going to teach them how to actually break down their elevator pitch into 30 seconds and focus on the least common denominator from that pitch.
Absolutely, absolutely. We look forward to both of those. February 24th is the How to Network. And I'm sure there's many people out there that are just got all of the energy, got all of the ideas, and I would just say the sorts of educational information that UBA gives will kind of fine-tune all that and bring it together. So I see our friend, Pastor Angelo McCutcheon, on the Credit Repair Show, all set to go. And so we want to tell everyone, be safe this evening. We expect you to win. One of Lisa and my favorite sermons is Noel Jones. I expect us to win. And it sounds like after going to that march that Mary definitely expects us to win.
Yes,
and
girl
she's
power.
all fired up with girl power in here. So
Girl power, girl magic.
as we close this evening, there are two types of people in the world: dreamers like you, and dream killers. We ask everyone to embrace the first and run like heck from the second. Everything in this world could change for the better, but it just takes one person with a made-up mind and a determination and with their special gifts to decide to go ahead and change it. So tonight you decide for yourself that you want to be one of those individuals, so you can be like a Jerry Moultrie, like a Mary Nieves, and like Lisa Thompson. My student, evangelist, activist, theologian,
Public speaker.
and she's got all the hats to prove it.
Yes.
So thank you again, Mary and Jerry, for coming in.
You're
We've had a
welcome.
great time, and we'll be back tomorrow evening, same time, same place. This is Stan Matthews and the Matthews Broadcast. We are Empowerment Broadcasting, and we look forward to being here again with you tomorrow.